He did everything right. Graduated top of his class, showed up early, stayed late, volunteered for the projects nobody else wanted, skipped vacations, missed anniversaries, told himself just a few more years and it will all be worth it. His name was Marcus. And after 14 years of building someone else's empire, brick by brick, deal by deal, year after year, Marcus was worth exactly as much as the day he walked in. Actually, that's not entirely true. He was worth less. Because while Marcus's salary crept up 3% every year, just enough for him to feel like progress was happening, everything around him was climbing at twice that speed. Rent, groceries, healthcare, childcare, the things that actually keep a family alive. And Marcus isn't alone. This is the story of millions of working Americans who followed every rule they were given and still ended up running in place. But here's the question nobody wants to ask out loud. What if that was the plan all along? Let's go back to where this started. Not with Marcus, but with the system that was built decades before Marcus ever filled out his first W-2. In 1970, corporate profits and worker wages moved together. When companies made more money, workers made more money. It wasn't perfect, but the deal was real. Then something shifted. In 1976, economist Michael Jensen published a paper that would quietly rewire the entire corporate world. His argument was simple. The only thing a company owes is returns to its shareholders. Not its workers, not its community, not its country, its shareholders. By the 1980s, CEOs were being paid not in salary but in stock options. Suddenly, their personal wealth was tied directly to the stock price. And the fastest way to raise the stock price? Cut costs. And the biggest cost in any company? You. Between 1978 and today, CEO compensation has grown over 1,400%. The average worker's wage? About 18%. Adjusted for inflation. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a market force nobody could control. This was a decision, made in boardrooms, ratified by lobbyists, signed into policy by politicians on both sides of the aisle. And it has been working exactly as designed. Marcus discovered this on a Tuesday night in October. Scrolling through LinkedIn, not looking for a job, just out of curiosity, he found a posting. His title, his exact responsibilities, his company's competitor, $42,000 more per year. He sat with that number for a long time. He pulled up his own offer letter from 2009, the one he had signed with a shaking hand, so grateful, so proud. He did the math. If he had been paid market rate every year he had stayed, every single year he had chosen loyalty over leverage, he had left over $600,000 on the table. $600,000. That wasn't just money. That was his daughter's college. That was his mortgage paid off. That was choices. That was freedom. And it was gone. The next month, Marcus walked into his annual performance review. He had delivered $4.2 million in new contracts that year. His team had the highest retention rate in the division. His manager had told him, twice, that he was being considered for a leadership role. His raise was 2.8%. His manager called it strong. Marcus smiled, nodded, thanked him for the feedback. And on the drive home, he made a decision that would change everything. But before Marcus could act, the company acted first. On a Wednesday morning in February, not a Monday, not a Friday, a Wednesday, because HR had determined that midweek layoffs caused the least disruption to productivity, the email went out. Organizational restructuring, streamlining for efficiency, difficult but necessary decisions. 12% of the workforce, gone. Marcus survived the first round, but when he looked at who was let go, he noticed something. Every single person on that list had been there for more than 10 years. Not the worst performers, not the troublemakers, the longest tenured, the most expensive, the ones whose institutional knowledge had quietly become the company's backbone, and whose salaries had slowly, year after year, crept just high enough to make them targets. Loyalty had made them vulnerable. That night, Marcus went home and opened a different kind of document. Not a resignation letter, not a complaint, a plan. So let's talk about the mechanics, because this isn't just Marcus's story. This is a system with specific, repeatable parts. And once you see them, you cannot unsee them. Lock number 1. The raise that isn't a raise. The average annual raise in corporate America hovers around 3 to 4%. Sounds reasonable, but inflation has averaged 4 to 6% over the last several years. Do the math. A 3% raise in a 5% inflation environment means your purchasing power just went down. Your paycheck has more numbers on it. Your life got more expensive. You got poorer. And your employer, who knows the inflation data better than you do, calls it a raise anyway. Lock number 2. The loyalty penalty. Study after study confirms the same thing. The fastest way to increase your salary is to leave. Job switchers earn, on average, 10 to 20% more than employees who stay. Some studies put it higher. Loyalty, in corporate America, is not rewarded. It is budgeted around. HR departments know exactly what the market rate is. They just don't offer it to people who haven't forced their hand. Lock number 3. Benefits as chains. The health insurance, the 401k match that vests in 4 years, the PTO accrual, the life insurance tied to your employment. These aren't just perks. They're designed to make leaving feel terrifying, especially if you have a family, especially if someone in your household has a pre-existing condition. The system doesn't just pay you less. It builds a cage around you with things that look like gifts. Lock number 4. The busyness trap. When was the last time you had genuine mental space, not just an hour on a Sunday evening, but real uninterrupted time, to think about your financial future, to research your options, to build something on the side? Probably never, because the job consumes you. Deliberately. A tired, overwhelmed employee doesn't negotiate, doesn't research, doesn't leave. Exhaustion is a retention strategy. Lock number 5. The identity merger. The most insidious lock of all. When you've been somewhere long enough, when your colleagues become your friends, when your title becomes your identity, when your calendar is their calendar, leaving stops feeling like an option and starts feeling like a loss of self. Companies know this. They cultivate it. Culture decks and team retreats, and we're a family here, aren't just HR fluff. They are architecture. Marcus spent 60 days doing something he had never done in 14 years of employment. He treated himself like a product. He updated his LinkedIn profile on a Sunday, had 3 recruiter conversations by Thursday, had a written offer by the end of the month, $61,000 more than what he was making, with equity, with a signing bonus, with a clear title path. He brought the offer to his current employer, not to negotiate. He was done negotiating. He brought it to see what they would say. They countered immediately, with $58,000 more, money that had apparently been available the whole time. Marcus thanked them and took the other offer anyway, because he understood something now that he hadn't before. A company that holds back $58,000 until forced is not a company that values you. It's a company that values your compliance. So what does Marcus's story teach us? What do you do with this information? Number 1. Stop treating loyalty like a strategy. Loyalty is a value, a beautiful one, but in a corporate structure optimized for shareholder returns. Your loyalty will be budgeted around, not rewarded. Know the difference between a company that deserves your loyalty and one that is simply benefiting from it. Number 2. Know your market value. Not what your manager tells you it is. Not what you were offered 3 years ago. What the market is paying, right now, for your skills and experience. Look at job boards. Talk to recruiters. Have the conversations. It costs you nothing and gives you leverage. Number 3. Negotiate every time. Not just when you're hired. Not just when you have another offer. Every single performance review. Every new project you take on. Every time your role quietly expands without your compensation following. Negotiation is not aggression. It is the language of the market speaking back. Number 4. Build outside the walls. Whether that's a skill, a side project, a network, or a savings rate that makes you genuinely untethered. Financial freedom does not come from a single employer. It never has. The most dangerous position you can be in is needing the job too much to risk losing it. Number 5. Move with intention, not fear. Marcus didn't leave in anger. He left with a plan. He didn't burn bridges. He built new ones. Leaving a job that undervalues you is not betrayal. It is self-respect. Corporate America didn't set out to destroy Marcus. It simply built a system designed to extract maximum output for minimum compensation. And Marcus, like millions of others, was too busy surviving inside it to see it clearly. Until he did. The system is real. The mechanisms are real. But so is your ability to understand them, to name them, and to make different choices because of that understanding. You are not trapped. You are just not yet informed enough to know your exits. Now you are. If this opened your eyes to something you felt but couldn't name, share this video with someone still inside the machine. They need to hear it too. Subscribe to Corporate Chronicles, because we tell the stories they'd rather you didn't know about.